people to come into the event at the moment. But we're basically, this is Launchpad, and we're here to sort of help students develop skills outside of their degree. So we're all about connecting to community, connecting to entrepreneurs. We're about helping students who want to start a business or a passion project. And we're all about sort of trying to create a community of people who want to innovate and get together, and it's sort of across disciplines, across sort of passions and purpose, and just trying to bring people together really to sort of explore ideas, innovation and entrepreneurship. So before we get going, I'd just like to acknowledge as well that Murdoch University sits on the land of the Wajutnama people, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I think that's enough really. I'm going to pass over to Jeremy now, our entrepreneur in residence, and get going with the panel. So thank you.
Thanks very much, Mel, and feel free, panel, to take off your masks because we're talking, so it should be all right. You've got a drink behind you as well. Welcome everybody to our first Meet the Founders event. It's the first one that Murdoch is doing this year at Launchpad. My name is Jeremy Chetty. I'm the entrepreneur in residence here at Launchpad. I'm the co-founder of Student Edge. But more importantly, I'm a former student of the university and started my business in my last year of studying commerce at the business school, and that was that business called Student Edge, and being privileged to be able to grow that business for the best part of a decade doing that. So my role here at the university is really to help the next generation of entrepreneurs that are coming through that are working on maybe an idea like Student Edge, and I wished that I had someone on campus as well when I was studying as an entrepreneur in residence. So that's my role here at the university. It's a really fun role and it's a supporting role, but I get to do stuff like this where we actually bring entrepreneurs, real entrepreneurs that are starting businesses, running businesses, growing businesses, to bring them into the student environment on campus and of course online as well. So I'm excited about the panel because this is why we're here, to be able to hear the real stories. And what I want to do is do a quick introduction. And then the first question to kick things off is really get each one of our founders to do a 1-minute pitch of their business. So that's the heads up. But I'll do the introduction and you can think about that as we go through. But again, we'll start with Ella. But Ella is the founder of Employii. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
Looking forward to hearing a bit more about your business. Danny is the founder of The Digital Marketer, but also other things you do as well, and a supporter of Launchpad. Ramon, student of Murdoch, founder of Colliecrete, which actually came out of Murdoch. Excited to hear about where that project is at. Oakley, student at Murdoch, founder of Project Lieve and winner of our Murdoch University's Think Big Academy last year, $10,000. So great to have you here too. Excited to hear where your project is at. And then Kate Cohen, a lot of people probably know her, for those that are watching online, big supporter in the startup community. I've known for years, the founder of Shecodes. Also excited about where you're going too with Shecodes. Let's get started. First question, which is, give us the 1-minute pitch of your business, and I'm going to start with Ella. I'm not timing, but we're not going to be ruthless here. But yeah, give us a 1-minute elevator pitch to the audience.
Sure, I should just, this isn't a good thing, but my pitch is probably the worst part.
Everyone's pitch.
Of me. So.
Don't worry about that. You go.
But essentially, Employii is a human resources consultancy based in Perth. We've got a dual model services, and we support both employees and the employer. To me, it's really important that we do both, because these days we want to like where we work, and we want our bosses to like who we work with. So my service aims to do exactly that. We try and create supported, strategic and strong careers in psychologically safe workplaces. Yeah, that's basically us.
And you help grads and
sorry, I should go to the community side as well. We are more than just HR. I've got a really big passion when it comes to giving back to the community. So we also try and achieve our purpose on a broader scale. We've got charity partners in mental health and domestic violence, and we do a lot with schools and unis to try and educate and support young people to make sure everyone's safe at work, being paid right and everything like that.
Awesome, thank you, Ella. Danny.
All right, hey guys, thanks for having me. These days I work in digital marketing, helping small family businesses create their online presence and digital platforms. The business, I guess, was founded under two main beliefs. Number one is that no matter how big your brand is, your company, your business, everyone has a story to tell. Every brand has a story to tell. And the second one is, the second belief was, just because you don't have thousands of dollars to invest in marketing every month doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to tell your story. So we work with small family businesses mainly, and help them with anything to do with content marketing, animation, explainer videos, social media, and everything else to do with anything can generate leads for the business.
Super important for building a business. Thanks,
Cool.
thanks, Danny. Ramon.
I've actually got some props with me.
Oh,
I always like
gee.
bringing the props.
There's always one founder.
I won't stand up because of the camera. Usually used to standing up, but anyway. So hey everyone, I'm Ramon Skåne. I'm a co-founder and environmental engineer of the Colliecrete project. So essentially, we're pioneering a new sustainable approach and pioneering like the newest innovation in green technology. So this here is normal old boring concrete. It's about 20 billion tons per year of this is produced globally. It's the most manufactured product in the world. It's the second most consumable product in the world after water, when you don't eat it, but anyway. And another thing is that it's also made incredibly unsustainably, and it's responsible for about 8% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. So that's more than all the car exhausts from China, US, and Europe combined. And so essentially what we're doing is putting a new product to the market. This is Colliecrete here. And this is concrete that can be made just as strong and workable as normal concrete, except it's made in a very sustainable way from local Western Australian waste, from coal power stations and mine sites and the energy sector, and is responsible for 80% less greenhouse emissions. So when you're talking about 8% of the world's emissions, it's pretty significant. It's also, because it's made from waste material, it's also significantly cheaper. So anyway, that's pretty much the very quick lowdown on what's going on. But yeah, cheers.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Thank you very much, Ramon.
I don't have props. The Project Lieve it's a new way of reporting sexual harm at concerts and events. Basically what it is it's a large database and a system where event goers can report their experiences without having to go through the police system, where they're able to be listened to, taken seriously, and then that database is shared amongst the different venues that use that system. So if someone is removed from a venue perpetrating sexual harm, they're not then able to just go down the road and jump into another club. So yeah, that's the system that we're working on at the moment.
Awesome, mate. That's awesome.
Super cool.
Okay, yes. Kate.
So I'm Kate, I'm the founder of Shecodes. So we sit at the intersection between community, education and industry to provide technical education to women to try and solve some of the diversity gap. So only 29% of tech currently is women, and when you drill down into actual software developer and technical roles, it's kind of more like 10%, but no one really talks about it. So we want to solve that problem by providing technical education to women in our community, and we do that by working with our industry partners. So we're working with some of the biggest corporates like BHP, Bunnings, cash converters, insurance companies, to provide training for their team and to people from the broader community to get them roles into tech. So we've taught 5,000 women over the last couple of years across Perth, regional WA and in Brisbane, and we're growing a lot at the moment. I've spent like all morning talking to my colleagues in Brisbane who are flooded, expanding over on the East Coast, and our crazy massive goal is to teach 100,000 women by 2025.
Wow, what an awesome goal. That is awesome goal, and thank you for that, Kate. All right, I'm going to get stuck into some questions. And in terms of the format of the questions, some questions I'll ask each one of you to give an answer, because it's so important. That's going to be the first one, and some I'll just jump around. And then I might go off script as well, Launchpad team, where we might ask. No, I was going to say just ask some questions from the audience as well, because I think it's super important that everyone here and online give an opportunity to be able to interact with real entrepreneurs right now. We don't get this opportunity very often, given the current environment. So while we're all here, why not also throw to the audience? So have a think about a question as well towards the end. Okay. First question, and I'm going to start this up, and everyone's going to answer this question, which is a super important one, which is what's motivated you to do what you do in terms of your business and your startup? So essentially what I'm asking is, what's your why? And every founder needs to know why they do what they do. And it's essentially the start of your elevator pitch, essentially when you're pitching to investors. So, yeah, why do you do what you do? Why did you start Shecodes? And I'll start with you, Kate.
Yeah, sure. So so I'm not from a technical background, and everyone always firstly assumes that I do come from a technical background, but I don't, and I still only code like this much. The people that I teach know way more technical content than I do. But my journey started, I started working for Skåne, which is a co-working space in Perth. I was 21, had just finished uni, I've been working in the event space for a long time while I was studying. And yeah, worked into this co-working space, had no idea about anything in technology or entrepreneurship, and I just got really curious. So like little small 21-year-old getting really excited about like, what is actually happening here? And I went along to every single workshop and event, and I loved the idea of tech because I like creating things. So I like seeing something come from nothing to something. And I just really, fell in love with that idea. And I tried to teach myself to code, and it was really hard. It was really, really hard. And a lot of the events that I went to were not very friendly. Like there was a lot of acronyms, there was a lot of jargon, everyone knew each other. I didn't feel safe in those places, even though a lot of them were like with people that I knew and in spaces that I was familiar with. That I was like, these are not my people. It's changed a lot since then in the last 7 years, but yeah, they were just not very inclusive communities. So this kind of started from me trying to find a community that I could feel comfortable in learning, and we were beginners at the time. It wasn't specific to women, and then the more we kind of delved into the problem, realised that there was this subset of beginners that was women. That was an even more important problem to solve because there's all these other barriers that happen for women, and there's this huge diversity problem. So yeah, started with trying to solve a problem for myself, and then just kept going with it. And what my why is my strongest value is making a difference, which sounds very like fluffy, but every day I want to achieve something that gets closer to somewhere. And so this was something that made a real tangible difference. I can see it impacting people's lives and careers and confidence. And that making a difference is what keeps me going, seeing what's happening.
That's great. That's a great answer. And I guess what you're saying is you started solving a problem for yourself. And I guess that's where a lot of ideas start from, is what's the problem they're trying to solve. And I like how you got further deep into the problem. You realised it's probably a lot bigger and and go really deep in it.
None of this was supposed to be like, this wasn't supposed to be a business. I just kind of fell into it. This was just a workshop that I was running for free on my own time on the weekend, running committee meetings out of my living room. It wasn't supposed to be anything. And it was just because the community kept asking me to do more that I'm like, all right, fine, I'll find more sponsors. Okay, stop harassing me. And then just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and now I can't escape. So.
and I like how you linked it to your why. Essentially, you know why you get up every morning now, isn't it? Because you know that you want to make a difference. You just found the vehicle of Shecodes and entrepreneurship to, I guess, deliver on that why. So yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that, Kate. Oakley.
So I've worked in the event space since 2018. When I was in high school, I started my own business doing event photography and videography and design. So I've been exposed to the best and definitely worst parts of the events community, especially within Perth. And as I sort of started to grow up, go through high school, going to parties, there's just so many things that I couldn't ignore about basically the way different people behave, especially the goals of people going out, women going out just to pick up women, and how that seems okay when you are kind of first exposed to it, but then after a while when you actually see it or you think about it critically, you find those problems. And then on top of that as well, being a genderqueer person, I'm very aware of all the different issues that we have with gender safety. And I think that all just kind of bubbled together and pissed me off enough. That's it.
And I love that because that's, again, it's a problem that you're so frustrated you've got to do something about it. And that's what I love about your story.
I think I just snapped and I went,
snapped.
that's it.
I'm starting a business.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I'm starting a business. I'm doing something about
Love
it.
it.
And yeah, that's kind of propelled me to now.
Yeah, and just for me personally, I've seen you just from last year coming into Launchpad with just that idea, just that concept. that point of, I guess, after you snapped,
Yeah.
maybe. But you're very calm and collected when you came in. But that's a lot of motivation. So if there's anyone thinking about, starting an idea or in that snapping moment now, maybe, is that's okay. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be angry, because that's going to be that impetus or that energy that you're going to tap into to grow whatever or start whatever business idea, because you need that passion. You need that. You can see it, or a trend happening, but that's awesome to hear. So thanks for sharing that. So it's that snapping moment, frustration. Here I am now, and you look more pumped than ever as well about what you're doing. So
Still angry, but it's refined.
still angry, but it's refined. It's channeled energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You found your vehicle, and now you're on the mission. Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much for that, Ramon.
Cool. So I kind of came from a arts and humanities music background and somehow stumbled into engineering. But pretty much from a young age, I've always wanted a very change the world sort of mentality. Don't know how I would do it. You'd have your older uncles and parents laugh at you because you can't change the world. Especially it's just the young enthusiasm sort of stuff. But I still always kind of had that. And one of the biggest issues I saw was the environment, and especially doing a lot of traveling, especially in Southeast Asia. Parts of Europe, even parts in Australia, the pollution is unbelievable. We really have it lucky here. And that's pollution, the environment, socially, everything, in a lot of ways. And so there was a lot of problems I saw there, and I wanted to somehow solve it. So I ended up going to uni studying environmental engineering, and essentially I didn't know how I was going to save the world, but I tried to find a way of doing it. Maybe it was working at a big company. Maybe it was trying for this, meet that person, I don't know. Eventually I started doing some assignments, and as part of the course, we looked into recycling. So when it comes to environment, there's the climate change side, and people can debate whether it exists or not, but it's reasonably settled. But regardless, there's the sort of climate change side and emissions, but there's also the recycled side, and there's the wastes. And you can just see it to believe it. You don't need to read papers, you can see it. And so we ended up doing this assignment, me and my mate, on circular economy and recycling and making wastes into materials, because in one way, a waste is just a product made to poor specifications. So it's how do we make that into a product? And so essentially, the assignment started during COVID. Somehow we just channeled an extreme amount of drive. We found a lot of purpose in it because we thought, hey, concrete is used everywhere, most manufactured product in the world. We could make this potentially bigger, and this is made from waste material. So as less emission, 80% less emissions. So it kind of ticked a lot of the boxes. It was cleaning up waste, cleaning up the world. It was reducing emissions, all that sort of stuff. It was helping community with employment. It was decreasing imported materials, so travel costs, travel emissions, because everything is locally made from waste. And so somehow we ended up pitching it to the state government, going from there. And we thought, well, doing some reading, it seems like a lot of the changes in the world have come from people starting their own businesses, stuff like Apple, stuff like Tesla, that sort of things. So we just thought, hey, we'll start our own business around it, and we have. It's going very well. So I guess my my drive is just, again, it sounds pretty hippie. I mean, I am, despite the button-up and the shoes, I am actually extremely hippie, and I just wear shoes. But yeah, it's just pretty much this sense to change the world. I want to do it through the environment as well, because we need to do this stuff very fast. And it's look, we need protesters as well, but protesting and going to buildings just to say a certain message is good, but we need people actually on the ground doing the hands-on stuff. So that was the goal there. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love that. I love that. I don't know. There's a couple of things what you just said. First, obviously, your why is obviously you want to make a difference.
Yeah.
If anyone online and here is sensing a theme, starting with Kate, that we're going through, it's about making a difference. I haven't had one founder say, I started this because I want to make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right? So let's debunk a few things as we go here. And this is the purpose of talking to real entrepreneurs, is that when you speak to a founder that's genuine about a problem they're trying to solve, is because they so love the problem they're trying to solve. The outputs of that is monetary success, if you do it well.
Yeah.
And that should be for every business. If you're doing something really well, and making impact, and making a difference, then you should get paid for it. Yeah? But I just want to just flag that, because there's that theme going here of the why, is you all want to make a difference. I also want to pick up that bit of reminded to say, oh, I am a hippie, don't judge me, or kind of thing, right? And I think we need to reframe that conversation. You shouldn't have to say that, right? And I just want to put that out there to people online and any student that's thinking about starting a business. Don't be afraid of your story, and be proud of your story. Don't have to reframe it in a way that is suitable to an audience. So keep that, because what you're essentially saying is I give a shit about humanity. People, planet, that's what you're saying. You should be proud of that. So, I just thought I'd pick that up because I think we need to, especially for the next generation of entrepreneurs coming through, we need to tell it real. Otherwise, we're never going to change that. So, be proud to be a hippie. And, if you had no shoes on today, I would be.
You can always take them off.
Anyway, thanks for sharing that.
And that, of course, goes into, just to add to that, that goes into every single product. I mean, at the end of the day, what you do in your business is not going to be for everybody, right? There's for your community, for the people who need what you can offer, the solution or whatever it is. So, I think the more we all tend to, at some stage to our business, apologize for maybe not the whole thing that we're doing, but a certain portion of it. And if I do, I guess I'm going to speak on behalf of us, if everyone had to apologize every day for every single thing that may not be the right fit for somebody else, that'll be a full-time job. So it's good to skip the sorry or get that over and done with and so on.
Might as well segue, mate.
On that note,
You're a segue.
I apologise.
So for me, I guess the startup journey started a few years back over in the US. So I went with a company there from the very, very early stages of startup, scale, through the whole journey. Then we moved back to Perth. My wife is from here, and over there I was dealing also with digital marketing. But when you come back to Perth, Perth is a bit of a, I guess, a smaller place. Well, in fact, it's a smaller place than the US. And one thing I started noticing is that no matter how many brands, how many companies, how many businesses, you typically hear of the same 3 or 4 in every industry. So furniture, there's Amar, there's a few others. Cars, there's this. Day spas, hotels, whatever it is, you always tend to hear about the same, famous ones. So I started doing my research and connected a few dots, and quickly realized that when it comes to what I do, so digital marketing, right? It's not exactly rocket science. I'm sure there's quite a few people who do it here already, and likely better than I do. But what there is, it created an opportunity. So pretty much what I noticed is through the research that the Perth itself, right, or the world, let's talk about Perth for now, full of digital marketing agencies, right? But the bigger the agencies, the bigger clients they want because they have the bigger budgets, which means that there's a whole series, hundreds, if not thousands, of small businesses, small family businesses, small to medium, that have no one really to help out. So I guess that sort of connects to my why. I don't know if I should apologize for this or whatnot, but my number one passion is people, and I use digital marketing to help people present their story. So when I say people, yes, I love working with people, and that's my number one goal. Using digital marketing and the tools and platforms and whatnot to help them tell the brand and the story. So that's pretty much what gets me out of bed every day and so on. And it's I love it, the change that I can make on a small family business's life with a few products and processes and a bit more implementation is very, very satisfying to see. So
that's awesome. There's a real gap in the market for what you do.
Yeah, seems to be.
Yeah, and especially the family businesses as well. The thing about building your digital brand, that's an issue for everybody, right? And we're trying to do this even on Launchpad about your own personal brand. You're talking about some businesses, but it's the same thing. It's about how do you communicate that as a founder. You got to know about your brand, what you stand for. So helping people communicate that is essential. So that's great, mate. And
sorry, and just to add one more thing to that. So the change that the world and the consumer and whatnot has gone through over the past 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years is that a brand is one thing, but behind every brand, it's the people. So working with the people and getting them to tell their story about why they started the business, where they're going with it, and why they do what they do. That's what brings in customers rather than an amazing product that may sell. So the product sells, but it sells through the people that present it.
It's funny you talk about growing your brand online. Recently I saw a future job called a digital removalist. I was quite intrigued. What's a digital removalist? Well, it's someone that actually goes and removes stuff online about you. That's actually a future job, apparently. So there'll be those people coming through as well, removing stuff that you've been doing. Yeah. It's a digital one though. You know, taking down stuff on your Facebook and all that. Anyway, awesome. Thanks for that.
Scratch your car up, though, which is good.
Hey?
Scratch up the car.
Ella.
Yeah, so I guess for me, so my business is in human resources, as I said. I went to uni, that's what I studied. I left uni, I started my graduate job, and I kind of became the HR friend. So at that stage, I had lots of friends still at uni or just graduating. No one really knew kind of what they were meant to do, when, what was right, what was wrong. So I became the HR friend. So people would just come to me and ask little questions like, hey, is this right? Can they do this? My boss did this. And there was one friend, or maybe two friends in particular, that when following the theme, I got really angry. So I might get a little fiery when I speak about it.
Snap right now.
I snapped. I full snapped. My jaw was on the ground. So basically, she kind of shyly came over to me, and I knew something was up. So I started probing with questions, and it turned out that she was being sexually harassed for months at work. In addition to that, a lot of my friends were underpaid, bullied, or just treated real shit, basically. Mostly, I would say, because they were younger. They didn't feel like they had the confidence to speak up. But the biggest thing was they didn't know it was right from wrong. So she was like, oh, does your boss not do this to you? And I'm like, no, they do not. She just didn't know that it wasn't normal workplace practice. So that's kind of the purpose of my business. That's why I said before, it's all about psychological safety, which links to mental health. So that's another really big cause of mine. And that's what keeps me motivated. So like the last week I had, I was working ridiculous hours all week, but just a few new clients that came through, and it was a few individual people that were not being treated correctly. And every time I get one of those clients, it gives me a little bit of a fire in my belly, and I feel like I'm there to make a difference. And I'm not there to go start a fight with their employer. I'm there to go resolve a problem. I really believe in strong employer and employee relationships. So that is my company. My company is just me in company form, really.
Yeah. Wow. I see there's also a link between you and Oakley for some reason.
Yeah.
The same sort of problems. But wow. Yeah. I think that's a big problem.
Yeah.
I think once you start lifting the hood and.
Oh.
Yeah. But also just rights at work, like just general stuff that I know from a student edge point of view, young people getting their first job. It should be almost like mandated where you know what are your rights at work. Do you know what I mean? It's got to start there, right? Your first job, and know, what can an employer do? What's your rights?
Absolutely, and another section as well, international students. So I've done a lot of work. If anyone here is an international student, I found a lot of people in that space are even more vulnerable, and have been taken advantage of more. So I also try and support anyone in that community too.
Yeah, which I'm sure it's a bit more. Yeah.
Gets me really angry.
Just don't snap.
I know. I can feel my chest.
Yeah.
Putting on fire.
Great passion. Thank you all for sharing your stories and your why. I think it's really important. And like I said, if anyone's starting a business, go back to if you've got a list of 3 ideas or 10 business ideas, doesn't really matter. Go through that list and just see which is the one that you're willing to work on for the next 10 years or 5 years at a minimum on that business. There's probably only one out of that list of 10 ideas. Just use it as like a litmus test. If you're hearing real stories here of people that genuinely care about the area that they actually work in and the problems they solve and why they get up in the morning, have a look at those list of ideas and you'll see there's probably only one that really resonates with you. Well, it's enough to make you snap. Yeah, maybe it's the snap. Maybe that's the litmus test now. What's one of those ideas or problems that's going to make you snap? Anyway, let's continue on. Thanks for sharing that. Next question is around what support did you have when starting your business? And a follow-on, what support you wished you had when starting your business? I won't get to everyone on this one, but I might start with you, what support you did have,
Yeah.
and what did you wish you had when you were studying?
Oh, my journey was a little bit different because I wasn't coming into this as like I'm starting a thing that's business. I was just running a workshop, and I was really lucky that when I started it, the first iteration of what Shecodes became was there's a guy in the community who was like, I really want to run this workshop for women, but I don't want to be the one leading it. Can you help me? And we had a little committee, which was really lovely. And so obviously that's a bit different to my situation, but I think in having what I've seen work really well with startups is having a team is really important. So whatever that looks like, if that's a co-founder or if that's someone that works with you, if that's a bunch of advisors, just like having those other people around you is really helpful because it's so hard to do things on your own. And I don't think we would have gone anywhere, like even me being passionate about a problem and knowing how to run events without my connections to developers that I got through and technical people through that original committee. It would have been a lot harder for like the workshop to happen because it would have just been a bunch of excited women not learning anything. Because I'm not going to teach them. So yeah, having that connection and networks was really important. I was also really lucky that I did have support through, so I was working at Space Cubes, Innovation Hub, so there's lots of mentors and people in the community, and I've kind of semi-weaseled my way into a few different things through, I was running +8 accelerator program for a couple of years, working with our entrepreneur in residence, Tim Brewer, and then Derek, Gerard, and just kind of being a fly on the wall at all of those kinds of things was a really good experience, just learning from other founders and bits and pieces. And then I kind of was sort of part of the cohort, with Derek back in, that would have been maybe 2019, which is kind of when our trajectory started kind of growing. Like I expanded to our 6-month program. We were having discussions about Brisbane and having that kind of one-on-one time with him every 2 weeks was really, really useful. So yeah, it's probably not your typical journey, but I think having some advisors and mentors, people that you can ask for help, and some kind of team around you, whatever that looks like, they would be the kind of key piece of advice that I would go and look for. In terms of what I wanted, I don't know. I didn't, because I kind of fell into a lot of this stuff, I guess you don't really know what you don't know. And yeah, I think just being really curious and trying to find people, I think is probably the most useful thing. And I guess when none of this existed when I was growing up, when I was studying, or when I was starting my career. Like it wasn't really something you talked about, entrepreneurship being a thing. So I think you guys are really lucky that this is even like an option that you're discussing now. So yeah, I don't really want to solve anything.
Yeah, no. Thanks, Kate. Well said. From a student perspective, I might throw to you.
Right, well, I'll start off with what I wish I had. There's actually not much, to be honest, because, well, to be honest, when we started out, we're only about 1.5 years old now, and we've got a lot of traction, everything's going pretty well. And I think the key to that is because when we first, okay, we're going to start a business, cool, what do we do? What's an ABN? Okay, how do we go about that, learn about that? And one thing we did is that we understood that we're really outside of our sort of zone. We're not entrepreneurs. Yeah, we want to solve a problem, but we didn't know what to do. We had an idea for this concrete, whatever, but in a lot of cases, like there's so many great ideas, but it's only as good as you can communicate them. We weren't the best communicators. We're engineering students. That's another joke with the hippie thing. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, the point being, so we recognise this, and like at one point we were doing stuff with Launchpad. I think it'd be a competition, but we're also doing 2 other competitions at the same time, whilst also doing our honours, me and my co-founder. So the point being, there wasn't much I wish I had because I think we were good at identifying that we were out of our skill sets. We needed to develop more skills. We needed to know how to pitch. We needed to know how business frameworks work and can be made. We need to do product development. So there's a lot of different things at once. So we're doing like a climate kick, think big, something with the UN as well. All these different competitions at once to try and learn it as best we can. So I guess I wish there was someone a bit more with product development experience that I could have gotten from, but this is a very niche product at the time. So there's not many people in Western Australia that I could get help from, plus COVID. So I guess my message there is, once you're on the road of, okay, I've got my idea, I want to develop my business, focus on what you don't know. It's hard because there's the things that you know you don't know, and there's the things you don't know you don't know, which is pretty confusing. But usually the things you don't know you can find out by solving the things that you don't know. It's a bit of a tongue twister. But the message here is just like, do a lot of competitions, do a lot of this stuff is free, especially through Murdoch. You know, Murdoch's great for it. You know, Launchpad and everything. So just whether it's through Murdoch or outside of Murdoch, there's so many innovations, Space Cubed and all that. You know, you could the resources are there. And the best thing about Perth, in my opinion, you kind of alluded to it a bit as well, is that this is a very small place of the world, and a lot of the technology, not even just the actual like physical technology, digital technology, we're talking is like 15 years, 10 years behind. So you have a small place, and everyone is behind everything, which means there's a lot of problems we can solve. It's just a matter of finding it, right? So, went a bit of a tangent there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I guess the.
You're quite a motivational speaker, aren't you?
Oh,
It's all the show solved now. I want to be an entrepreneur today.
Yeah, so the message there is just once you get the idea, once you got that focus, that drive, just go out and try and find resources to figure out what you know you don't know, and then you find out. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to go a couple of questions for the panel and then some to the audience. So have a think about a question you'd love to ask the panel. I'm going to go in a different direction with this question. So this is more about mental health and well-being. And the question is, and I'll probably start with you, Ella, is how does a founder, how does an entrepreneur, how do you look after your well-being? And how do you keep yourself at, recharge the batteries and keep yourself at that optimum level of operating and running a business? What do you do? What's your well-being?
So for me, well-being and mental health is super important. So I speak openly about it all the time. I try and, as I said, partner with different charities in that space. And promote it in all the services we provide. So personally, I also take that really seriously. I think the first thing is acceptance. It's like, even if you're feeling great now, you've got to accept mental health is a volatile thing. It will go up and down. You have highs, you'll have lows. That could be work-related, personal things, whatever. So, for me personally, last year was a horrible year. There were some really good things that happened, but just I started my business. That was great. Got a niece. Perfect. Best day ever. But other things in my life were just not great. So for me, what I did was I really invested in well-being. So some of that's professional development. It's ways of thinking. It's accepting it. It's using your flaws as a strength or reframing them in your mind. For example, I have anxiety. That's not a weakness. I have a great business. I've got lots of friends. I do lots of things, and I've got anxiety. Cool. I just managed that. I think recognizing the symptoms as well is really important. So now I'm really good at noticing when my mental health's about to drop. I can pick that up and I can implement my strategies. And I think another thing is reserving times for the things you love. So that was something my therapist that I got last year helped me with. Love therapy, guys. Highly recommend. But we kind of identified where my happy places were, and I love sport. So now I'm back at netball and footy and go to the gym, love sport, took up golf, and I have blocked parts of the week where no matter how busy I am, I will go to my football training because I'm socialising and I'm active. And I've accepted that if I come back and I want to work after, fine. I can work till however late I want to. But as long as I go there and reserve that time for me, that's been a really good thing for my mental health. So, yeah, I really caution you if you think, oh, I've got to work every single night till midnight, I've got to quit all my sports, I can't see my friends, I can't do anything social, because you'll burn out. And if you want your business to last a lifetime, you can't afford to burn out. So that's my spiel.
Wow, that's awesome. And thank you for being so open and honest with the students that are here and the students online. That's quite a big thing. So thank you for sharing that. And that's the real stories we want to hear, not the success stories that you see in the newspaper, not the overnight success that typically gets reported. There's a lot of stuff that founders go through, and something I share with founders, if you know how to manage the ups and downs, then you're going to go far in entrepreneurship, and that's what it is. In one day, you can experience that 4 times, 5 times, multiple times. If you can manage yourself through that and find your recharge points, take time out, find what recharges your batteries as well.
Yeah,
you take time out of the
definitely.
day. I think you're gonna go far in it. So thank you for sharing that. Danny, I might throw to you for that, and then we'll jump to another question.
Yeah, so it probably breaks into 2 or 3 points, but start off by defining what success looks like. And that's something I do for myself and also do with each one of my clients. But I guess, and this goes to anybody really, no matter what you do in life. So if you don't start off by defining success and what it looks like, you're never going to know where to draw the line. So I could be sitting in the office from, 4 a.m. until 6 until my 2 kids wake up. Then we do all that. They go to school, work again. They go to sleep in the evening, then work again until they wake up the next morning, right? But as you said, I mean, you're going to burn out very, very quickly. So defining what success looks like and knowing where to draw the line, that is the only way to, for me personally, that's the only way to create the balance. And knowing when enough is enough. So I guess enough is enough. Enough connects to our revenue. So deciding, how much you need to generate, and when is it time to call it quits for the day. So for me, it's drawing the line. So as I mentioned, stop me if it gets too personal, but I've got 2 kids, so I know that I'm dropping them off at school and picking them up deliberately because that cuts up my day, right? So at 3 p.m. pick them up, and I know that I'm not working until they go to bed if there's work to do, which typically there is. So that's good. But the other thing is, and again, this goes back to the past question. I remember when we first arrived back to Perth, and my wife and I were on the train, both going to work and so on. We literally pretty much found ourselves doing rock, paper, scissors, who's going to cancel the last meeting to pick up the kids, in the afternoon, right? And we don't want that. I mean, we love being parents. We also love our jobs and whatnot. So again, goes back to well-being. It's defining success and cutting off and knowing, when enough is enough for the day. Yeah. And so just to add to that, the other things that I do apart from obviously spending lots of time with the family is sport, as was mentioned here. And again, going back to thinking what made you happy before you started the business, what's making you happy now. And, people change, so it's not necessarily the same things all the time, but there's certainly stuff that you probably gave up when you first started the business, and then if you look, take a re-look at it and whatnot, you realise that there actually is time for it. You just got to, compromise somewhere. So and that connects. For me, it connects to well-being and sanity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of, I say, insane most of the times, isn't it? But it's about mind, body, soul, right? We keep hearing about that. It's about being disciplined to actually take time out of the day to look after your mind, body, soul. And every founder is only as good as their mental health and well-being. If your body's not working, your mind's not in the right spot, you're going to be a disservice to your business, and dare I say, the people that you lead and your customers. So it all comes back to how you really want to make sure you look after yourself. And there's non-negotiables, right, that you have in your day. Like I said, picking up your kids. I've got to pick up my kid. So I've got to rush up here at 3 o'clock to pick up my kid because that's my Thursday pickup. It's my thing, right? But it's about being disciplined about it. That's the key, right? So thank you for sharing that. This last question that I'm going to throw to the audience is I'm going to ask each one of you because I think it's super important is, can you give one piece of advice to the entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, the students out in the room here today and online? What's one piece of advice that you could share with them? Or tip or trick, doesn't really matter, but just a piece of advice. And I'll ask all of you that and then we can throw to the audience. Ella.
For me, it is think of like a slogan or a mantra or something to keep you going. So I've got 3 depending on how I'm feeling. I've got Nike slogan, just do it.
Yep.
So just do it.
Yep.
Like eventually you got to act. Stronger is get shit done. So if you're feeling stuck, just do it, get it done. And the third one is I've got this. So again, I said before, sometimes I get a bit anxious. It's all a bit overwhelming. Imposter syndrome. I literally write down on a piece of paper until I feel good again. I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, which sounds silly, but it really works. Highly recommend.
No, not silly at all. Because you got to tell your brain.
Yeah.
And your brain, your body will react to what your brain is telling you. So that's
it works.
it's the law of attraction, right? You keep telling yourself, and it actually starts to happen and unfold in your life. So thank you for that. Cool.
I would say take the first step, and just start doing something. Just start running with the idea. And the reason for that is these days, it's so easy to get caught up in there's the podcasts and social media, and you go to all these events, and it's very, very overwhelming, right? So it's very easy to get stressed out and seeing how other people present themselves on social media and podcasts, and you can open your laptop or whatnot one day and you see all these amazing successful people on paper, whatnot, and it can get very, very overwhelming. So trying to block out some of the noise would be my first tip, and the second one is take that next step and try and do something small. You don't have to achieve it all in one day or in 1 year. Take that first step and see what you can build from that.
Love that. One step at a time.
Oh, there's a lot. I'm trying to think of one.
Ramon.
All right. I guess the ones that you've said so far have been great. So I'll try and think of another one. I would say, I guess a practical one is get an app on your phone to limit the time you spend on your phone. Unless it's like a digital marketing, you need to go on your phone, then that's a different story. But we literally, like on average, people spend like 5 hours a day on their phone. We don't realize it, but look into the settings, you'll find it out. It's ridiculous. And that's time someone else is putting in, that's your competitor, business competitor, right? So I would say that, and if I could sneak another one in, I would say also like sleep is underrated. Like get sleep. Like I know sometimes you need to be on the clock all the time, I understand, but like get sleep. You cannot work effectively without sleep. There's nothing wrong with getting 8 hours sometimes. If it means you'll get 10 hours of work better, then it's better.
Just want to share, and thank you for that. I want to share an anecdote on the back of that. About 3 years ago, my co-founders and I were in Shanghai, and Steve Wozniak was presenting, and he shared something that just blew my mind around why him and Steve created the first Apple computer. It's just the whole reason they created the Apple computer, which is actually this now, but was that the American population workforce would work 3 to 4 days a week. That was the whole purpose of creating the Apple computer, is that we create a more efficient way of working, that we work 4 days maximum a week. And he goes, here we are, whatever it was, 2018, we're working 7 days a week. And this, the Apple computer with this, is controlling, and his advice was, which I took, which was, don't let the machine control you.
Yeah.
You control the machine.
Yeah.
So things like I turn off notifications. I don't have notifications anything.
Yeah.
So I choose when I want to see an SMS or a WhatsApp message or an email.
Yeah.
Because notifications is something
Yeah.
simple, and that's worked for me. But I just want to share that on the back of what you just.
Use
a great tip.
Use it as a tool, because otherwise you get into the zone where you just keep scrolling. Like I've got apps that literally block news feeds, and it's great. I save so much time. It's unbelievable. People have more time than they think. You don't usually hear that, but yeah.
Great
So
tip.
just get rid of all the stuff on your phone.
I've got the screen time widget for iPhone, and it takes up like half my home screen, so every time I swipe up, it's like, you've been on for 4 hours, and I'm like, yeah.
It's a bit guilt.
Yeah, exactly. It's mean, but it works.
Thanks, Ron. Oakley.
I just think when you picture something professional, or what we've been seen as professional and successful is often void of all emotion and all personality. That's something that's really important to take with you into your business. Your customers have emotions, they have personalities. Your problem has probably emotions and personalities. So you need to be bringing that in with you. Your experiences are going to be a lot more valuable than what you can even learn, because those are some things that you've had to go through and you've had to experience on your own. So I think keeping that with you the whole way through is something that's really important. And that's something that's helped me, even from doing the graphic design and the brand for my business. I was advised not to, because it's very angry and edgy looking and punky, and I was told by a couple of people, don't do this, your audience is primarily females, this is not feminine design. And I'd ask, why is this not feminine? And they said, oh, it's powerful and it's punky and it's angry, and I'm like, yeah.
Would that be angry?
Yeah. I was like,
Women can be angry.
Yeah. I was like, they're angry because people keep saying things like that. So yeah, keeping your emotions, thinking about them, why you're feeling them, and putting that in your business. It's super important, and it's so helpful.
Yeah, that's
my
awesome.
tip.
I'm going through this with my 4.5-year-old about emotions, and we're doing this, but it's real. It's like, it's okay to be angry. because we can't like put the certain emotions to the side. Let's not talk about that one. That was too taboo. I think we need to talk about all the emotions, but it's important about how you regulate it, how you manage it. That's the important bit, right? So yeah.
It'd be like super weird if your logo was like flowery and pink and
Too-
sparkly.
That'd
Like,
be too hippie.
Balloons.
Thanks, Oakley. Okay.
Well, so I think the most important startup tip is like talk to your customers as early and as often as possible, because people often get caught up in what they think is. It's important to know what things you care about. That's super important. But also just make sure you talk to your customers and see what they want, because I've seen so many businesses get like ages down the line, spend a ton of money, and then they go and talk to a customer, and customers are like, I don't care about that. That's not a problem. I wouldn't pay for that. Or that's really frustrating because you don't want to waste a bunch of time and money on a problem that your customers don't experience. And trying to get as much real, honest feedback as possible as well, because your friends and family are going to tell you what you want to hear, and really hype you up, because that's what friends and family are for, but not always the best for honest feedback on what you're going to spend possibly the next 10 years of your life on. It's really important to get outside perspectives. Then on a more founder level, I think my most important advice is never hesitate to ask. So people are really intimidated, especially when they're early in their career, like, oh, that person won't talk to me, they're like so impressive and cool. But like most of the people in the Perth startup community are really nice. We were saying before, like one of the benefits of Perth is like we are a small place, we're super hyper connected, and unless you like don't be a dickhead, because that's, if you piss someone off, that's
Everyone will know about it. Everyone will know about it.
I've heard a few stories of people like pissing people off and then coming back and asking for investment a couple of years later, and they're like, I don't know, you were an asshole a couple of years ago. Why would I invest in you now? But as long as you're not, mean to people, they're gonna be. It's a pretty forgiving place to make mistakes, and if you make a few mistakes here, then when you go over east or overseas, it's a nice testing ground at Perth. But it is also, everyone's very friendly and nice, so ask for help as early and as often as you can, and don't be intimidated by titles.
Great advice. Thank you very much. So we've got a few minutes left, and I want to make sure I capture some feedback from the audience and ask some questions. So I know it's a bit hard under the mask, so maybe just raise your voice when you're asking your question. Anyone got a question for any of our panelists? Or any of you coming online? Questions? Oh, yes. One question.
How did you, I guess this is open to anyone up there, how did you find your first customer?
I'll jump in. So I started planning my business a year and a half before I quit my full-time job. In that time, I networked, and so when I started telling people about my business, before I left my old job, I was trying to get as many referrals as possible. By that stage, when I actually left, I had been given 3 referrals, so I could leave with 3 clients on the run. So my advice would be start thinking before you actually take the plunge, and make those connections early. One of those connections I made a year before they actually became my client, and at that time they ended up being my biggest clients. So yeah.
Great question.
Mine's pretty similar. My relationship with BHP, that was cold email, which doesn't happen very often. They cold emailed me, which is wild. It's normally the other way around. But our partnership took 18 months. It was really slow and hard, and that's what big corporates are like. So even when you've got someone super invested and really wants it and cold emails you, being prepared that it takes ages.
Yeah.
And just on the customer bit, there is a distinction. If anyone's got an idea or a startup about knowing your customer is the person that's actually taking the money out of the wallet.
Yeah.
So with the Student Edge example, our users are the students, and the customer is the brand or the business that pays the bills. So it's always free for the student, which is the user. And it's just important to make that distinction. Users, customers, just know your customer is actually taking the money out of the wallet, is the customer. Questions? Yes, at the back.
Speaking about customers,
do you guys have any methods for dealing with clients or customers that create issues?
So they're already a customer, just clarifying, they're already a customer,
Yes.
and it's presented a challenge or an issue, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, yeah.
I've had plenty.
You've only been doing this a few months.
So for my other
before,
business,
sorry.
Yeah, so for producing, especially when you're doing something like design, videography, photography, you are creating something where the value is really debatable. So if you have a client that's either not happy with it, or they don't like your prices, they don't understand where they've come from, often it's just about having answers ready and kind of having educational materials ready as to why are you charging that much? This person's charging half, and it might only be half as good, and that's why. But you need to find a way to be able to convey that, saying that this is why we charge this amount, breaking down the actual value of your product, and being able to explain that to someone that might be angry. You will often have whether it's clients, customers that just don't gel with what you're doing. They don't like your product, they don't like the price, they might not like your type of business. That's okay. Sometimes that is a problem with your business or a problem with your product. Other times it's the wrong customer. They're in the wrong shop. And you just need to kind of cut them off and just not have them back as a client anymore, which I've had some from different industries. I do event photography for concerts and events, and I had someone who I used to do videography for, who was like a mining company. And after a while, I kind of ended up just saying, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just stopping it here. We're moving in a different direction. I'm not able to offer you what I think you should be getting, because it just doesn't match up correctly. So sometimes it's hard, but sometimes it's going through a little bit of a breakup with a client.
Yeah. There's the old saying, you let them down gently.
Yeah.
Thank you. Question, we might go second last question. Yep.
Okay. I think there's obviously lots of financial risk associated with starting your own thing, and yeah, so it's an open question. How best would you, not best, but would you say it's better to sort of do your own thing first and then venture into this, or should you just go for it? How exactly do you manage that?
Really good question. When do you make that jump? Especially those that may be in a full-time job, got a side hustle, you jump into it, or you're a student, you've got bills to pay, whatever, you've got a family. How do you make that jump into, obviously it depends on the circumstance, but how do you just make that jump into a startup or a business?
So,
sorry. I was just going to say, I guess when it comes to sort of analyze the costs you would actually need to make the business, and one thing I would definitely like to leave with everyone is that everything is learnable. If you don't know how to do graphic design, learn it. There's literally businesses like Canva and plenty of others out there, and they're all competing to be the best quick graphic designer company there is. Graphic design, YouTube videos, there's stuff out there for product development, there's research papers, use resources online, use resources from people you know as well, collaborate. So when it comes to, obviously you need to work to, you need to eat and everything, still do that, but the point is, don't overthink it and say, oh, it would be too much money to start a business, oh, too much time, too much this, because you haven't even tried it yet. Just once you've got the idea, just go with it and then go from there. And just remember that everything is always learnable. You can learn, you could probably even learn marketing, bits of marketing. If it gets too difficult, then that's when maybe you get a marketer in. But I would just say, try to do as many things yourself.
Killing my business.
I don't know if you need a really good one. But the point is, do as much stuff as you can yourself. Is my advice there.
MVP.
MVP, yeah. And what you're trying to say is, there's never been a better time, especially in 2022, where things are, you can get a website done for free.
Yeah.
You can get an app now done for free, a basic one. And I think that's the key. And I had this question asked to me not so long ago from a student saying, what would I do if I was starting student edge again? How would I start it? And I said, easy. You've got things like Uber nowadays. I would run a business out of Uber because my business, I've got a laptop there, got my phone, and every single person that gets in the car is a potential lead or a lead to a lead or someone that's going to buy. And that's why I said it's top of the funnel. I'll just drive Uber all day, any money, paying the bills with my laptop and my phone. And some business cards, because everyone's going to leave with a business card, right? So I think that's how you make it. You just got to make a start, keep the cost low.
So it's
Right.
less risk. Yeah.
Add a little HR thing in there. If you do have a full-time job, so my situation was a bit different, make sure you know your contract terms. Mine was really strict on restraint of trade, which means I can't provide human resources advice to anybody else other than my employer. So I wasn't allowed to have my business on the side commercially until I left them, which meant I had to save as much money as I could to make sure my house and mortgage were covered. I could live off. I planned a certain amount of money for like 6 to 12 months, and then as well to invest into the business. So that's the way I did it. I just saved. But yeah, do be cautious of your contract terms if you do have a job.
And I think the
Right.
last thing is like
Yeah.
figuring out pricing so that you're charging enough that when you are working on it full time, that it actually does make sense. I was having this discussion this morning. We have been trying to move from volunteer model to a paid mentor model, and I was talking to a bunch of people who have a fully volunteer run team, and they're like, sucks, because now we've gone from like to grow, we've got to hire people that's really expensive, and we're used to dealing with a volunteer model. Whereas if you kind of worked it into pricing the whole way through, like it just makes it easier. So trying to charge, doing your costing based on what things are like realistic, rather than just trying to do things charge really cheap because I'm just a small thing and people won't take me seriously, and maybe it can just be like a quarter of what it should be, and then your customer's like, cool, great, let's do this cheap thing, and then you increase your prices and they're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I don't know if I
No,
want
no.
you anymore.
I don't know the
Right.
service business if you found the same, but I found if you charge more, they also think you're better. Like if
Yeah.
I charge too little, they're like, oh, she must be pretty crap because she's only charging this much. So,
Yeah.
sorry, I cut you off there.
No, that's fine. I was going to say is that I guess a few things. Obviously, each person is different, so circumstances change and whatnot. But there's so many reasons why not to start it, right? And you know, you can come up with reasons every day. Now's not the right time. It's not the right fit, and whatnot. So probably the most cases like I've seen, and I haven't seen too many, but from what I've seen, when people start businesses, it's working the full-time job and then starting that as a side hustle or whatnot. And when you feel comfortable enough to cover your what you must have for the week or for the month, that's when you start thinking about that shift. And then just to add to what was already said, everything's 100% learnable. So when you hop online, and it's true, like Canva, YouTube, all that. Me personally, there's nothing more satisfying when a client comes to me and says, okay, we understand what to do now. You know, we can take it from here. And that's a big part of what I do. Like I sit down and teach. It's not just about saying, leave it to me. It's about teaching people how to do it and then them hopefully using it and properly. The only reason I stay on with clients is because they don't have time to do it. They understand how to do it, just they don't have the time. So going back to the main point is figure out what works for you. But you know, the most common one that I know and that's worked in the past has keep your full-time job or the job that you're doing and start that as a side hustle. If it's 1 hour a week, grow it to 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week and whatnot. When you're comfortable enough, typically you'll know when it's time.
We are over time, but we've got snacks, we've got drinks, bit of networking afterwards, so you're more than happy to, whatever question you want to ask the panel, I believe you can hang around for a little bit to take those questions. So we might just wrap up there. Yeah? Here you go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, thank you guys, that was awesome, like such a great conversation. I just also wanted to say thank you to Trevor and Angelique from MBS as well for supporting us as well. And thank everyone for coming, and thank our awesome team for putting everything together, and our student team as well. And Min over here as well starting a Launchpad podcast,
Yes.
which is out now, so give it a listen. But what else was I going to say? I completely forgot now. I don't know why I'm asking you. We've got loads more events coming up, so yeah, love to see you come to Launchpad to attend, or they'll be all sort of streamed online as well. But yeah, that's what I'd like to say. Thank you,
No
Jeremy.
problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we'll wrap up there, online and here. Put your hands together for our awesome panel. Coming in, spending time, you're all running businesses, spending time to really just share and help and encourage and support each other. This has been a Meet the Founders event. We hope you're going to do a lot more, but thanks for joining us, and yeah, hang around for some drinks and networking. Cheers. You.